Reese, I guess, disappointing to have a defensive performance against Texas Tech after such a strong performance against Baylor.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing because Coach Leslie talks about it all the time, and that's probably his biggest thing is like he has a standard for us, and that standard has to be the standard. It's been different in the past, and like he doesn't know how it was since he came in and. He admits that all the time. He says, I don't know how it was before. I'm not going to say good, bad, whatever it could have been. He said, but I'm just telling you now, the way that things are going to be, there's a standard. You are to uphold that standard, and you are to play above that standard. Every time you have a great performance, such as Baylor, that standard rises. And every time you keep climbing that ladder, and you can't fall below it. And so this weekend, we fell below it, but that's why we're coming back to practice today and getting back after it.
Reese, what do you think led to taking that step back defensively?
It's a lot of things. It's kind of hard to tell. I think it's hard to put your finger on one thing in particular. I think energy, pregame, and on the sideline probably was a very large contributor because ultimately, like last week, I thought we had a pretty good week of practice. I think it was maybe the tail end of the preparation leading up to the game.
Whenever you get in those situations, not saying that this is what happened, but after you do have such a strong performance, do you think then that's just kind of expected and then guys go out and can be a little lax because you're really just coming off, playing so well that you just think that now that is the standard and we should just be able to keep it? Does that go into it at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So Coach Brown addressed the team yesterday and he emphasized the point where it's hard to handle failure, but it's even harder to handle success. And that's where we're at Baylor. We had a lot of success. Really proud of how we played and everything, but we didn't handle success well. So now we're back to square one, starting off and building and preparing for success, and then we have to maintain and uphold that, and we have to be able to handle it better because, and Coach Leslie had talked to me independently about some of these things about coming in. He knew that we didn't handle adversity too well, and that was preseason, winter conditioning, summer, things like that. And he had been trying to put us in adverse situations in preparation for that. So we've been preparing for adversity, things like that. Well, we got a little bit of taste of success and didn't know how to handle it because just a bunch of numerous things. But I think that's what we're on now, and we're working to achieve that goal.
Coach Koenig said that Kansas State might be the most sophisticated offense or complicated offense that you guys are going to face this season. So how do you prepare for that?
Ultimately, you have to go down to the fundamentals, and that's something as a D lineman. It's different for safeties, corners, linebackers. It's way different. But ultimately, football comes down to blocking, tackling, and angles. So for us, it's just about playing our game. Ball get off, strike, separate, see, shed, and go. Things like that. So the more complicated you try to make it, the harder it is on us, and it slows you down. I think this week it's just about, again, playing our ball and doing what we do best. For the D-line, it's not too complicated, Ultimately, how many things can you do? You can run zone, you can run inside zone, outside zone, you can run counter and power. Those are the same thing for the D-line, a little different for the backfield, but, those are really the two types of plays that we get that we can really have our thumb on. So ultimately, it's about keeping it simple for us.
Reese, how is this Kansas State team better? You got to see them last year. How are they better this year as opposed to a year ago?
Well, if you look, they're a big physical team. It's hard to say that, like, obviously being outside of their program, I'm not in, and I can't tell you what's changed, but with turn hands from coaching staff and things like that in their program in the recent years, we still have 5 offensive linemen that are seniors, returners. We've had a lot of experience on their team, and if you look at the foundations and the pillars of their program, they're a real blue-collar, hard-nosed football team. So I think that's ultimately the thing that makes them so good is that they're gritty.
How do you prepare to play a line that's 5 seniors?
Do what we do best, and like I said, it's about us playing our game, not about necessarily worrying about them as much.
I know you guys run a lot of stunts and things. They've probably seen all that, however many times over.
Yeah, and so it also depends on the type of scheme you're running. With gap scheme teams that are their primary gap scheme or primary zone teams or play action pass versus drop back, things like that, you adjust your scheme just a little bit to it. Like I said, we still run our stuff. We still do exactly what we do best, but you just tune it just a little bit and you kind of cut your playbook down and say, okay, well, if they run this and that, then we won't twist and stunt as much. We'll just hit them straight. Well, if they do this, then we'll twist and stunt more. So, which everything that we are tuning, cutting in or cutting out, we're not developing for them. It's stuff that we do. It's just about executing what we do.